Our first speaker is Kurt Oberhausen, who's going to talk about Addison's story. Tracy is going to talk about the LGS research pipeline. And then we have Helen, our research director, talking about the registry. Helen's going to talk to us again. She's got 2 slots here, so she has a lot to say this morning. And she's going to talk about a guide to clinical research. And then we're going to have our industry partners talk to us. Amy Wagner is going to talk to us about finding the joy in the journey. And then we get to Dr. Fajardo is going to talk to us about Fintepla. And then we get Tim Hollick from Jazz. And then Dr. Misra is going to also talk to us about advanced learning together and research together. Dr. Jordan, do we have seats for everybody?
We don't. I think they're going to have to stay.
Yeah.
When we run out of seats.
Yeah, I didn't think we had seats for everyone. So
Sorry.
from now on, if you could just stay in your seat and then come up. And then Dr. Drury is going to talk about Simpazan. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that right, but and then Dr. Lamb will also talk to us about surgery or meds for LGS, treatment, outcome, and caregiver burden. And that'll take us to break. So again, quite a bit of information, all good information, so please pay attention and take and absorb all this information. Okay, Kurt, you're on.
Morning, everyone. My name is Kurt Oberhausen, and I'm the father of the most amazing 7-year-old Addison. She's my constant pillar of joy and inspiration, and she's always laughing and smiling. I'm so extraordinarily thankful for my wife, Cassie, who's over here, for her tireless caregiving and for being such an amazing mom to Addison. Make sure you say hi to her. We heard yesterday that 70% of families know the root cause of your loved one's diagnosis for LGS. So I want to start with a question. By raising your hand, how many of you know that specific cause? Okay. We know that LGS develops over time. No one's born with it. It stems from genetic differences, brain injuries, infections, and more. Many families spend years searching for that answer, and many have never received one. For Addison, she was born with congenital cytomegalovirus, CMV, a viral infection that newborns are born with. While she was in the NICU for the first couple of weeks of her life, we learned that the virus caused brain calcifications, these little specks of scar tissue throughout her brain. When we asked her medical team what this meant, we were told that we wouldn't know until something happened. Fast forward, and things seemed typical. Addison started doing all the things that babies do. Then, at 8 months old, we saw her have her first myoclonic seizure. She was diagnosed with epilepsy. Medication stopped the seizures. Life continued. But typical was short-lived. Around the age of 2, the seizures came out of nowhere and quickly progressed. Thousands of atonic seizures, countless emergency room visits, every medication thrown her way. Addison was diagnosed with Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. We pursued genetic testing after learning from it for our first LGS conference. When those tests yielded no results, we knew that CMV was the cause. The question I always ask myself is, what changed between Addison's first seizure when she was 8 months old and when she was diagnosed with LGS at age 2? Could there have been something that we could have done to stop the progression of LGS. I asked this question and share this story for a specific reason. Each of our loved ones share unique experiences of how we got here. Even if we're unsure of how our loved ones progressed to LGS, there are common threads that connect us all in this room. When I start talking to other LGS families, I quickly learned that while LGS is a rare disease, the sleepless nights aren't rare. Serious viral infections and aspiration pneumonia aren't rare. The behaviors, the regressions aren't rare. When we start sharing our stories, we learn. That's when Cassie and I discovered so many families share a similar story to Addison. Their loved one was born with CMV, the seizure started, and then they were diagnosed with LGS. Our LGS community is the daily observers, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We know which therapy failed, which diet offered a glimmer of hope, and which medication caused adverse effects. We hold the lived history that clinical data alone simply cannot capture. Everything that Addison has experienced over the past 7 years of her life helps us understand why LGS may develop, help recognize who's at risk of developing LGS, and provide insight into what has worked and what hasn't worked for treatments. I realize that my family's daily reality is the puzzle pieces that researchers are so desperate for. We see things in ways that no researchers can observe from a distance. We're not just the caregivers, we're the experts. Because we are the voices of our loved ones, we are the essential partners in this mission. If we keep these experiences to ourselves, they just remain our stories. We cannot combat LGS with better therapies and eventually a cure without truly understanding it. We're the only ones that hold the key to that understanding. When we weave our individual stories together, we transform our lived history into a map for discovery. As you'll soon hear from Dr. Helen Chen, anyone in this room can help to do so. By choosing to share our experiences, we aren't just contributing data, we're working towards learning and understanding for the future of our loved ones and for everyone walking this path after us. Thank you.